But Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways came out a couple weeks ago. And I beat it. Took like 6 hours. It was DLC, so it was kind of short. And there's a like you can beat it in 2 hours, realistically. Um, but yeah, it is one of the best DLC I've ever played. Um, they saved all of the goofy stuff that was in the very original game for this DLC that they cut out the main game. They had the
Right.
missing boss fight, who actually became a pursuer enemy like Nemesis and Mr. X, and
Ooh.
and they randomly pop up for a short boss fight every now and again until the very final boss fight, which was great and had two phases.
Nice.
It was so good. And Ada has a grappling hook that she can use to scale structures and pull herself toward enemies for melee attacks. That makes
Mm-hmm.
her a lot more mobile than Leon. And they have the laser hallway scene that inspired the laser hallway scene from the first Resident Evil movie, if you've ever seen that. Um, and it comes full circle with them referencing the movie in this version of the laser hallway. Um, Ultimately, this is like a distilled and highly concentrated version of everything that makes Resident Evil 4 Remake great, injected directly into my veins. It was it was so fun. It was just short and very sweet. It was a good time,
Yeah.
and it added a lot more depth to the character. And the actress who the new actress who's playing Ada, because it's a different actress. Because in Resident Evil 2 Remake where she appears, she was played by a white woman, and Ada of course is Asian. So they got a new actress, and specifically it's the actress who also played the character in live action in their most recent Resident Evil live action movie. But her acting was a little stilted, um, and wasn't particularly good. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people got real mean about it online and did what they always do and pushed her off of social media. And or maybe she like privated herself or something like that. Either way, it had very negative consequences on her just mental health, and it was horrible. And
Right.
it's better in this. And like just because like it's like I agree her performance wasn't the best. I played the game twice through, and it was the second time I played it. It was after I beat it is when because I wasn't looking up anything online when I was playing it because I didn't want it spoiled for me. So it was only after I beat it the first time that I heard that happened to the actress. And then I was like, yeah, I didn't enjoy her performance that much, but it wasn't that bad. And even if it was, that doesn't give you the right to harass someone just because they made art that you didn't like. That's not how that works.
Right.
Just because you don't
Yeah.
like someone's art doesn't mean you harass them. That's just politely. There's a way to criticize someone without just being mean. And I've
Right.
said it before. When you see a lot of people like criticizing something, you have to just learn when like your opinion isn't adding anything new, and all you're
Yeah.
doing is adding more negativity onto a dog pile that is already full of it. And you kind
Yeah.
of could just read through the comments, read through whatever you're looking at, look through forums, and you'll see people talking about. You'll see a lot of people that have probably already said what you're coming to say. So you don't need to come and add your opinion because it's not new and it's just adding more negativity that's already there. And it's okay to have those opinions, but when so many people have already said it, it's just like, what's the point of you saying it? If so many people already have. And like, yeah, it was better in the DLC, and I enjoyed it a lot more. It was still a little bit stilted, but it works, and there's room to grow, of course. But like with any artist, with any working in any art form, she's gonna get better with time.
Right.
The problem is how much time, because Ada doesn't show up that much. Uh, so that's where the fear comes in. It's like if she played her in the second game and wasn't that great, but then had the played her again here, she probably been a little bit better, and then in DLC been a little bit better, and then she shows up in six, which oh yeah, I should also be like they're 100% like we already basically said that they would before, but they're 100% remaking five. The way the story ends in the DLC is like uh, Wesker is a really big part of it because she's working for Wesker in Resident Evil 4, and he shows up a lot, and he also is a character in the Mercenaries mode, which is like um a mode where you just go around shooting stuff as one of the as several of the characters you can play as Luis, Leon, Agent Krauser, which is one of the bosses in the game, and stuff like that, and just run around shooting enemies in this kind of like arcade style thing. And they added
Right.
Wesker to it, and he has his powers. So
Ooh.
it's like, oh yeah, they're doing Resident Evil 5. Like we already assumed they would, but like now it's like no doubt whatsoever. And if they do five, they're probably gonna do six. And Ada does show up in that. So she'll have more opportunities to, play the character and get better and, grow into it. But also there's also the chance of her showing up in just new games because Ada isn't like dead or anything. Like
Yeah.
she's still around. And Ada, she was supposed to be in Resident Evil 8. And I think I showed it to you. The concept art for her was cool. She was like dressed up in this like witch doctor crow type gear. Hold up,
Ooh.
look up
Yeah, show me.
Resident Evil, Resident Evil 8 Ada, and you'll just see it. It's she looks really cool in the concept art that they had for her. I really wish she would have showed up because she looks
Ooh.
like, imagine if you were playing Resident Evil 8 and then this person in this sick like witch doctor outfit was just showing up with a crossbow, helped you out. Like she does in Resident Evil 4. She's in the background helping Leon out. And then later
Right.
at the end of the game in like a after credit scene, she takes off the mask and it's Ada Wong. I feel like, what? That would be dope.
Oh,
And then imagine
yeah.
if they then added a DLC where you play as her like you do in Resident Evil 4 as she goes around helping you. I'm mad. You know, I think I know why they cut it. You know, the more I say out loud, the more I realize it. Because after playing Resident Evil 4 several times over, I recognize how much of Resident Evil 8 is just straight up a ripoff of 4 because they're trying to. It's similar to. They're reliving their greatest hits with with those two games, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8. Because Resident Evil 7 is very much take like Resident Evil 1 again, and they're kind
Right.
of like going back into the horror roots, making it first person. Like the first couple hours of that game is really scary. Um,
Hmm.
and then and then with Resident Evil 8, it's very much just straight up Resident Evil 4 in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
because you know with 6, people didn't like it, so they're like, okay, we got to bring it back to what people like about the games. So they remade the first game in a way with Resident Evil 7, and remade the fourth game in a way with Resident Evil 8. And having Ada be there and do the same thing she does in Resident Evil 4 in this game would have just made that too apparent. It would have been too on the nose. So that's probably why they didn't do it. But I hope
Right.
whatever they're doing with this Ada and this witch doctor outfit comes back in the ninth game because it's cool. And we just need more Ada because she's not really.
Yeah.
She's usually a background character. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you play as her in DLC, but honestly, I'd like a full-on Resident Evil game where you play as Ada.
It'd be nice.
If it was up to me, Resident Evil 9, you would play as Ada, Claire, and Jill. It would be an all-woman
Ooh,
Resident Evil game, and it would be
that'd
with
be fun.
three characters that, outside of remakes, hasn't technically been playable in a very long time. Because technically, yeah, you have to have Resident Evil 3 remake where you play as Jill. You have this remake of 4 where you play as Claire. Excuse me, Ada. And you also play as Ada in 2, and you play as Claire in 2. But they haven't, like, in terms of timeline, they haven't really been in the game recently in the
Right.
games. So it would be like Chris has kept showing up. He showed up in 7, he showed up in 8. But let's bring back Claire, Jill, and Ada, and have us actually play as them. That would be cool.